Hi, my name is Dave Fowler, and today we're going to talk about guerrilla marketing, how to get the name of our company out, our particular name, for example, for a realtor, things like that, out to the general public, and effective ways to look at our target market and who we're marketing to, and then effective ways to advertise or to sell our services. So I've been in business 5 years. My company is David's Kitchen Design, and I design kitchens for a living. I also teach 2020 and sales techniques, and that's what defines what I do. My markets are contractors, designers, a number of different type of companies, box stores, as well as kitchen companies, and like I said, contractors. So we'll take a look at areas we can get our company name in and market it to our clients. So the first thing we talked about was determining who your target market was to. Um, the other thing we have to take a look at is, are we wholesale or are we retail? So there's two different things. Wholesale, you're kind of giving a price, a special price to people, of course. Retail, you're actually selling it kind of at full retail or thereabouts. Doesn't mean you still can't give a deal. But if someone comes, for example, and says, "Hey, I got 20 employees I want to come to your spa every month," how much would that go for? Well, obviously, if you're selling your spa services, just for example, at $100, you may discount that to $80. So, it just depends on what the service is. Obviously, my price to a contractor who does 10 kitchens in a year is different than to an individual couple. Doesn't mean I still can't give a deal, like I said, but there's a difference between wholesale and retail. So determining what that is, are we wholesale? Are we retail? Is it something where we're trying to move a lot of items at a special price, or is it something where we are selling onesie twosies here and there? So then we're going to take a look at that. So then we look at in the previous identifying our market, target market. For example, I have three areas I deal in, or four maybe. One of them is the local market in Arizona selling kitchens. The other one is the nationwide market, whether it's Arizona or other places, just designing kitchens, teaching people how to design kitchens as well as sell cabinets and kitchens. And the other one is, of course, worldwide. I've sold 328 classes worldwide on my own website and other vehicles. So we take a look at like what is our target market? Okay, so I make good money on all three or four of my areas. And it kind of all adds up for not having your eggs all in one basket. So we really don't want all our eggs in one basket. We want to diversify. Because if that one thing goes down, then what do we have to fall back on? So we'll take a look at what is our target market and who is our market. So the first thing we looked at was, are we retail, are we wholesale, or are we both, depending on the circumstances. Next thing we go to is, are we who is our target market, who we're trying to zero in on, and then do we have all our eggs in one basket, or do we have we diversified enough? The third thing we look at is how we advertise. So guerrilla marketing is unusual ways of doing things, like the first book that came out. But really, in reality, it's also about being aggressive and developing habits. Whatever you do, do it daily, so that theoretically, they say after you've done something for 30 days, it becomes a habit. So let's take a look at that. So we talked about social media. We talked about advertising free on Facebook, and I can teach a class on this if you want to call, and it could be an hour or whatever. And I charge for that, but I can teach a class on how to advertise on Facebook for free, and also somewhat some of these other philosophies. I'm not really like an advertising company. I'm more of a kitchen design company, but I can teach you how to do certain things. So then, so reach out if you're interested in that. But secondly is so we have Facebook, we have Instagram. I'm not on Instagram, nor am I on TikTok. Doesn't mean I won't be or want to be. I am on LinkedIn big time. because my target market is kitchen designers, kitchen companies, and also contractors and things like that. So they're very much on Facebook, they're very much on LinkedIn and things like this. So that's who I advertise to. I probably reach out to connect with 100 and some, or whatever the limit is on LinkedIn, a week, and I send them about my classes and things like that. Then I also reach out on Facebook every week. I send 10 contractors information because that's all it'll allow. Then I also email them, and I also try to call them. Don't always call, but definitely do the email and the reaching out. And probably a texting would be a third way because a lot of contractors just read their texts. And I teach them how to get into kitchens, teach them how to do all this stuff. Okay, so then let's take a look at some other ways today. So we're going to reach out, and I'm really just am learning about this one, and that is postcard companies like Sendgem. Okay, and what that is basically, you can target market an area. If you're doing a remodel of a home, you can put up your sign. Then you can do like a circular thing in the neighborhood and say, "Hey, I'm remodeling your neighbor's house over here." And certainly would love to earn your business or whatever you have. So there's that. There's target marketing in the area of your whole area there. You can send out to 400 homes or something. You can buy credits, and then it's so much a postcard. Um, Again, I'm like a free person. I like free. So I'm not a big fan of like spending a lot of money if you don't have to. It doesn't mean it can't be rewarding. If you send it out, you get 20 kitchens from it a year, then it's definitely worth it, or whatever it is you do. It's about name recognition. So we're talking about yard signs, we're talking about postcards, we're talking about door-to-door knockers, talking about a number of traditional ways that people used to do this, and it can be valuable. It can be valuable depending on your business. So, and again, it's not a one-hit thing. You have to repeat it, every month or whatever. So I was learning about that today with a company that I am helping out, a Kitchen IQ company, and that I also do designs for and sell for. So Zach at Kitchen IQ in Peoria, kudos to him. He's wanted to use my services, and I'm more than happy to work for him. Um, Now that being said, is that so we've looked at different ways. We look at social media. We look at all these other things like postcards, yard signs, and such. We've looked at going to your restaurants, your sphere of influence, whether that be your church, whether that be your um, social group that you're involved with, your church or synagogue or other things, and then also going out to a restaurant and giving out a referral fee to waiters and waitresses, the wait staff, things like that. Um, and we talked about that in other videos. But anyway, these are some new things that we can take a look at. These are some things that we can consider. Remember to measure every dollar that you spend and say, wow, was it worth it? Because otherwise it'll eat you alive. And between Google ads and between all this stuff, that's why I like free. But thank you for your time. Have a wonderful day, and reach out if you would like to use my services. I can be found at www.davidskitchendesign.com. That's David's with an S. My email is davidkitchendesign@gmail.com, and my phone number is 480 620 4284.